Interesting how for guys, katakana is easier to learn, while for girls, it's hiragana. That is interesting because for me, I find katakana very easy. Like, but I guess that's because my association with it is different because, like, when I read katakana, I can try and it's like a puzzle. I'm just trying to figure out, oh, what loan word is this trying to say? You know. Kosu. Stato. And I'm like, oh, start, you know. Meron soda. Oh, melon soda. Easy. Or like on my absolute favorite drink, the goat Pocari Sweat. The source of all the ions I need. Ion supply. Ion supply, of course. Where else am I going to get my ions from? Can you read? Of course I can. Banana. Banana. Yeah, katakana is fairly easy for me at this point. I just need to learn how to actually... Ritero coin. Ritero coin. I'll always remember that. I'll always remember. Kawaii. I'll always remember the taxi driver where I dropped my change. He said, sumimasen, sumimasen. Ritero coin. And I was like, oh, arigatou gozaimasu. A little coin. I'm reminded of when I was in Japan. I had to get a taxi. And I was doing very well. I'd googled some phrases that I could use, you know, to tell the taxi driver where to let me off and where to take me and all that kind of stuff. And as I stood up to get out of the taxi, I was like, "Arigatou gozaimasu," and I got out of the taxi and I went to leave. But what I didn't notice is that I was wearing some quite loose pants and some change had fallen out of my pocket. And the taxi driver, he sort of waved and he said "Toto, toto, toto," and he sort of waved at me and he held up like a 100 yen coin that I had dropped, and he held it in his hands and he said "Ritero coin," and I thought that was the most adorable thing that anyone has ever said to me. This is an upside down water level. "Ritero coin," and I was like, oh, thank you. It was fantastic. I'm glad I still have my Ritero coin. Ritero coin. Yeah, no, yeah, katakana is fairly easy, but I struggle with some. It's the line. It's the little line that like denotes kind of a longer sound, you know? Like that sometimes that can trip me up a little bit, but the rest of the time I think it's alright. Gorilla. I love katakana. I think there's something about katakana and loan words that is immensely charming to me, you know, seeing like a culture and a language that is so far different from English that it needs to kind of use a different alphabet to because language changes the way your brain works, you know, in order to make English make sense, it needs to be processed through something that makes it easier for someone who speaks Japanese to understand. But there's something about me as an English speaker seeing those loan words that like I just love the way they're pronounced. I think it's very, very fascinating how that's done and how it's like, yeah, all the same sounds you would find in hiragana just processed in a way to say something that sounds like an English word, but then it makes sense to a Japanese speaker. It's really fascinating stuff, and I always find it so sweet and so charming. KINDRED.